Prince Harry's been on a strange downward slope for a while now. But this latest twist, it might just be the most shocking yet. You've likely heard whispers floating around about oddities on baby Lilibet Diana's birth certificate. But what's circulating now isn't just about a missing title or a clerical slip-up. No, it cuts much deeper. The latest claims suggest that Meghan may have orchestrated something jaw-dropping, a disappearing act so complete that Harry's full legal name is practically absent from his own daughter's birth certificate. And that's not exaggeration. It's allegedly not there. Think about that for a second. Your name, your legal identity completely missing from a document that defines your child's very existence. That's the position Harry reportedly finds himself in. According to multiple outlets, instead of including his lawful first and last name, the one recognized by the government, the certificate bizarrely lists the Duke of Sussex as the first name and His Royal Highness as the surname. Now imagine showing that combo on a passport or any official ID. You'd be met with disbelief. And here's the kicker. This doesn't look like a sleepy hospital clerk's oversight. No, this feels deliberate. It carries the signature move of Meghan's favorite playbook, distraction by sleight of hand. While the world debates royal titles and HRH status, something far more serious may have slipped under the radar. Harry's legal identity potentially being erased from official documentation. This isn't some petty royal feud. This enters the territory of legal maneuvering. In the UK, titles like Duke can appear on paperwork, sure, but by law the person's actual name still needs to be included. Think of it like writing doctor on a form. Fine, but you still have to put John Smith somewhere underneath. Yet in Harry's case, that John Smith equivalent is missing completely, and somehow the certificate still got approved. That's when reality hits. This might not be a harmless error or even a symbolic act of royal defiance. This might be a calculated move. And let's not pretend Meghan's unaware of how these systems work. She's maneuvered through legal circles, royal protocol, and Hollywood contracts alike. If this was done on purpose, then that one piece of paper could make it significantly harder for Harry to claim full legal rights over his own children. That's what makes this so shocking. You really think Meghan didn't know exactly what she was doing? Especially when you realize birth certificates aren't just paperwork, they're the foundation for everything. Passports, custody battles, legal guardianship, travel rights. And if Prince Harry's proper legal name isn't on that document, everything starts to collapse. And guess what? It did. When Harry attempted to secure British passports for Archie and Lilibet, the entire process came to a grinding halt. What should have been routine turned into a months-long nightmare. The official excuse? Technical issues. But Harry wasn't buying it. Behind the scenes, he was furious, and rightfully so. According to insiders, he was so desperate he even considered switching to the name Spencer. Yes, his late mother, Princess Diana's maiden name. Imagine that, a royal prince resorting to a name from a family he was never legally tied to, just to cut through red tape. That's not just desperation. That's a man completely backed into a corner. So now we have to ask, was this just another case of royal mismanagement, or was it a strategic move? Because from where I'm standing, this doesn't look like oversight. It looks like control, legal control. Meghan may have just made her boldest move yet in a quiet but calculated power play, removing Harry's legal identity from a key document, the first pawn in a legal chess match. And now, the fallout is just beginning. When you strip it all down, this isn't about paperwork. This is about control over their children, over the narrative, over Harry himself. While he's scrambling to get documents approved, Meghan seems to be 10 steps ahead, navigating the system like a master strategist. And the passport debacle? It's no mystery. On paper, the holdup was blamed on technical difficulties, but anyone connecting the dots can see what really went wrong. You can't just insert a royal title in place of a legal name and expect bureaucracy to roll with it. The UK passport system requires legally verified birth certificates, not ceremonial labels. So if Harry's actual legal name was omitted from Lilibet's record, that's a massive red flag. No wonder they had to resort to legal pressure, emergency escalation channels, and threats of lawsuits just to unjam the system and get those documents pushed through. But here's where things get even more complicated and a whole lot messier. Harry wasn't just asking for basic passports. According to insiders, he demanded that his children's royal titles be included, HRH and all, and that decision alone reportedly slammed the entire process into a wall. Why? Because the royal family had already made their stance clear. Harry and Meghan are not supposed to use those titles for public or commercial purposes. But Harry, he seems unwilling to let go of that final thread connecting him to his royal past, even if it means pulling his kids right into the middle of the storm. Reports claim he went as far as threatening to request all internal data related to the delays. That's not just frustration. That's someone who suspects there's a cover-up, someone who wants proof. That's when you realize Harry might finally be waking up to the fact that the power he believed he held might have never been real at all. And Meghan, she's not just navigating the ship, she may have built it from scratch. Then there's the legal kicker. When a birth certificate fails to include the father's correct legal name, you can't just ignore it. By law, the birth must be re-registered. That means resubmitting documents, providing identification, securing both parents' consent, essentially redoing one of the most critical legal records in a child's life. So while the media debates whether Meghan's flaunting HRH on business ventures, Harry's behind the curtain scrambling to make sure his name is even legally on his daughter's certificate. And when you zoom out, it gets even darker. If Harry ever tried to travel solo with the kids, say fly them back to the UK, he'd need Meghan's written permission. That's the law. And if she refuses, he's stuck. A royal by blood who can't even board a plane with his own children unless the woman who controls the paperwork signs off. Now ask yourself, do you really think she'd hand over that kind of authority without a fight? The most chilling part of this entire situation, how invisible Harry is becoming. His royal status diminished, his parental authority legally unclear. Meanwhile, Meghan continues to stay quiet, maintain control, and hold every crucial card. Whether intentional or not, she's now in the one position that matters most, the gatekeeper of their children's future, their documentation, and, perhaps, Harry's last real link to the royal institution he still clings to. Yes, he may still have the title, but when it comes to actual power, Harry's been outmaneuvered. The man who once stood just steps from the throne is now on the sidelines, caught in a maze of legal red tape, international travel restrictions, and a slow unraveling of what it means to be not just a royal, but a father. And the worst part? It's not just the monarchy putting up barriers anymore. It's the very life Harry helped build that's starting to turn against him. When you look closely at the birth certificate drama, it becomes painfully obvious. This was never just a formatting oversight. It was about laying down legal groundwork. Because when a document as essential as your child's birth certificate leaves off your full legal name, you've already started writing yourself out of the script. Whether Meghan orchestrated that omission on purpose or not, the impact is the same. Harry's legal role as a father was quietly blurred, if not completely erased. And that matters far more than people realize. In legal battles, custody hearings, or international travel, the absence of a verified parent on a birth certificate creates loopholes. Courts don't deal in royal lineage. Governments and consulates don't validate crowns, they verify names. If Harry and Meghan ever went their separate ways, if a custody fight broke out, Harry would be stepping into the ring with less leverage than he probably realizes. Because bureaucracy doesn't care about royal bloodlines, only documents. But the danger goes beyond paperwork. This is about symbolic erasure. The public still sees Prince Harry, a man with a title, a legacy. But in the documents that actually carry weight, passports, custody forms, inheritance records, he's becoming more like a ghost. Meanwhile, Meghan has constructed an entirely new power base, not one tied to Buckingham Palace, but one built on legal precision, strategic moves, and a sharp understanding of modern media optics. While the public argues over whether they should be using royal titles on merchandise or podcasts, the real concern, the legal inconsistencies, are sliding under the radar. Why wasn't Harry's full legal name on Lilibet's certificate? Why did he have to threaten legal action just to get documents processed for his own children? None of it adds up. And that's the point. It's distraction. Keep the world focused on the flashy drama, while the real shift in power happens quietly behind closed doors. And here's where it turns even more unsettling. If Meghan ever wanted to tighten control, she could, legally. Travel laws mean she could block Harry from taking the kids out of the country without her written consent. And in the US, where courts often favor the primary caregiver, Harry would be fighting an uphill battle every time he stepped into a courtroom or embassy. Because no matter how famous you are, one brutal question still echoes in those spaces. What's your legal standing? And don't forget about the re-registration. If that truly occurred, it means someone behind the scenes realized there was a serious problem with the original birth certificate. It means the mistake was acknowledged, quietly fixed, but only after the damage was done. Trust fractured. Delays dragged on, and the story started to take shape. But this story isn't really about birth certificates or passport forms. It's about something far more chilling. How a prince can be quietly sidelined from his own life. How a man born into power can be reduced to fighting for a name on a page. Because when power is handled strategically, it doesn't need a crown. It doesn't need a throne. Sometimes all it takes is a signature, a single form, and the cold, calculated decision of whose name not to include. What do you think? Is Harry being quietly pushed out? Or is this all just coincidence? Drop your thoughts in the comments. Is this legal oversight or something far more calculated? Let's talk about it.